boom, boom, chicka chicka, chicka chicka, boom, boom, boom. Hello my friends, I'm Professor Hans Von Puppet here on the Hans Von Puppet channel. Today I'm going to review a film from 20-some years ago, Ferris Bueller's Day Off from 1986. Why, you may ask? Because SourceFed asked me to. SourceFed's a wonderful show you should be watching. In fact, they just won the Audience Choice Award at the Streamy Awards over the weekend, so congratulations all my SourceFed buddies over there. You guys are the greatest. I love you. Mwah! That's for you. So anyway, to ask their loyal viewers to watch a film on Netflix and review it, so here goes. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I remember enjoying it when I first saw it 27 years ago, but, and then when I thought about it some more, I sort of didn't like it. It started to bother me because of certain problems. I mean, it's full of thrills and jokes and kind of feel-good zingers and gotchas where Ferris outsmarts the man in the form of the Dean of Students, Mr. Rooney, or the various vendors who he deals with throughout the day, conning them out of different things. But he's really kind of a dick, you see. Okay, Ferris Bueller lives in that rarefied world of John Hughes films where everybody is white, everybody is rich, everybody lives on the north side of Chicago and has no real problems except for the general teenage angst. Now, Ferris Bueller himself seems completely free of such angst. He is well-adjusted and happy. He has the rare loving parents in a John Hughes film. Most people's parents are assholes themselves. His parents seem, well, kind of dumb and oblivious to what he's doing. They seem like really kind of loving, sweet parents whom he completely takes advantage of and takes for granted. So basically, Ferris Bueller plays hooky from school by pretending he's sick through some very clever things with making his palms seem sweaty and making a snoring and sneezing noises with his very complex MIDI keyboard over there. Puts a dummy in his bed which rises and falls when you open the door. He manages to predict in sort of a Hogan's Heroes-like way exactly what everyone's going to do and how to fool them with his trickery. So Ferris convinces his best friend Cameron, who is always sickly and always pretty much does whatever Ferris Bueller says, you know. He's sort of a doormat. In spite of the fact that Cameron is in fact ill and will get in great trouble for stealing his father's precious car, Ferris Bueller doesn't seem to care. He sees it as some sort of necessary rite of passage for Cameron to do. And it turns out he's sort of right when he eventually destroys the car in the third act. Ferris then gets his beautiful girlfriend out to school who has a slight kind of English accent. I wonder why she has that. They just drive all over Chicago and have these wonderful adventures. Now, this is where the whole thing falls apart. I mean, it's an adventure that seems like a fun day, but not Doctor Who himself with a time machine could cover this much ground in Chicago in one day, okay? They live on the north side, all right? After school starts, presumably at 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, Ferris gets dressed, takes a shower, does his whole thing, prepares, talks to Cameron on the phone several times, goes to his house, has a whole scene there, gets the car, calls to school, goes and gets the girlfriend. It's got to be at least 10 o'clock in the morning by now, okay? And we're on the north side of Chicago. If you've been there, you know it takes you about an hour to get from there down to the Loop. They drive the Ferrari down there. They visit the Sears Tower, the tallest building in the world, and look down and have existential moments looking at the city. They go to the Commodities Exchange, where the pork bellies and whatnot are traded. And then they go have lunch somewhere at a very expensive restaurant. Where are these kids getting all this money, you know? All the rich parents, you know? These kids don't seem to have jobs. Ferris peeks at the book in the reservations in the restaurant and decides he is Abe Froman because there's a table for three. Now, of course, he takes this table and through some trickery and con man stuff convinces the maitre d' that that's him. But what happens when the real Abe Froman shows up? I mean, what's going to happen then? Okay, they have this expensive lunch. Let's say, I don't know, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock now. The next thing you see is they're at a Cubs game at Wrigley Field. Okay, the Loop, where the Sears Tower and the Commodities Exchange and this restaurant presumably are, is on the south side of the city, you know. Wrigley Field is on the north side, at Addison. So presumably they drove their car down to the south side, then they would have had to take a train or taxi or something, back up to Wrigley Field to watch a baseball game. And baseball games take several hours to play, am I right? They happen to catch, what, one inning? I don't know. During which Ferris catches a foul ball because he's a charmed, magical person. Then they go to the Art Institute of Chicago, which is a beautiful, enormous museum that itself takes hours to see. If you saw all the things that they show in the montage of the art museum, you would spend 3 or 4 hours in the Art Institute. But they got time to have lunch downtown, go all the way uptown to see a baseball game, and then go all the way downtown and see a whole museum, and then get in a taxi, for some reason, to go to Daley Plaza, where, for some other reason, there's a parade. and then suddenly Ferris is in the parade, where he sings Dankeschön in a big, giant musical number that incorporates everyone in the street. Now, the logic of this really is beyond even Doctor Who, because somehow there is a PA system that is playing Dankeschön, which is already Ferris's favorite song, because he sang it in the shower in the opening of the film. They already had that queued up, and it plays, and they've got a microphone he can talk over, and he can lip-sync the song, and everyone knows choreography, and the only black people in the film that I could find are about a dozen or 2 dozen people just randomly on the street who immediately form a group and do choreography, and it's a big musical number where they all seem to know the choreography as if they've all been rehearsed for this spontaneous outflowing of love and music. I don't know where this comes from. It's crazy. Then they get the car back from the valets and have to turn the odometer back. They realize they've been joyriding, and Cameron flips out and goes catatonic. Okay, next time we see them, they are sitting at a scenic overlook, presumably back up in the northern suburbs where they all live. Then they go back to, I guess, Cameron's house, and they're sitting in the hot tub while Cameron is sort of teetering on the diving board there in his catatonic state. Cameron falls into the pool. Ferris thinks he's drowning. He saves him. Cameron laughs. Cameron has sort of been reborn and rebaptized through this experience and is now kind of not freaking out anymore, but has more perspective and is being more zen about things. Then he has a big monologue where he kicks his father's car basically out the back window of the glass incredible garage, because really it is Cameron's father, who we never meet, who is the villain of the whole thing, even though we never see him. And Cameron has to rise up and now face him off screen after the film is over, because he has now learned to be a man somehow by hanging around with the magical impish elf of Ferris Bueller. Part of why Ferris Bueller gets away with all this stuff is he's incredibly charming. His sister and Mr. Rooney, the dean of the school, do not like him. They are onto him. They are absolutely right about him. Everything they think about him is correct. He is conning them. He isn't really sick. Even though he's able to fool everyone else, they never get fooled, and they get punished for trying to find him. Rooney gets all beat up. Ferris' sister, who's sort of pissed off because Ferris gets to cut school and she doesn't, decides to cut school in a very boring way. She just sort of walks out and goes home, where she finds Mr. Rooney, who has broken into her house looking for Ferris because he has seen through the clever doorbell gag that Ferris has cooked up for him. She sees him in the kitchen, thinks he's a rapist, kicks him in the nuts, as one does, knocks him out, and then goes and calls the police in a screaming panic. The police say she's faking it. By the time they come, he is gone, and so they arrest her, off-screen of course, for making a fake police report. And there in jail, she meets Charlie Sheen, a teenage Charlie Sheen who is smoldering and sexy, even though clearly strung out on heroin or something. And somehow druggy, biker, tough guy Charlie Sheen is able to give her some wisdom to help her not be angry at Ferris Bueller anymore. Now it's a big third act chase, big running through a bunch of neighborhoods while his mom and his sister are driving across town. His sister sees him and is trying to race home to catch him, and Ferris makes it right to the back door of the house and almost gets in there. Mr. Rooney is there and catches him. He was right all along. This should be Mr. Rooney's moment of triumph against the fiendish Ferris Bueller, but at that moment his sister, who has hated him completely up to this point, opens the door, smiles at him, and lets him into the house. Ferris Bueller dives in the window, whatever, slides under the sheets and gets there, and just as his mother is about to open the door, is able to pull the baseball from his pocket that he caught at the Cubs game to throw it at the stereo to turn off the fake snoring, and his scam goes undiscovered. He gets away with every crime and pays no penalty. Okay, because he took life by the balls. I guess that's the message of this film. Okay, whatever. Reality, not important. Doesn't matter. Feel good. Okay. Ferris Bueller has tricked everyone in the world. They all still love him. Even his sister, who hated him, now loves him for some reason because she has one up on the principal. I don't even know why that would make her that happy and smirky at the end. I don't understand. Maybe because Charlie Sheen kissed her and that melted the ice in her heart. I don't know. Ugh. If you're a fan of things making sense, I don't think this film is for you. It gave us a lot of very popular memes that are still with us today. Ferris talks to the camera, breaking the fourth wall in a way that at the time became extremely popular in films like this. And you can still see it in a lot of different films today. Oh, it has that song. Whenever you see the car or something sexy happen, it goes boom, boom, chicka, 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 boom, boom, boom. Oh, it seemed really cool at the time, but then it's been in 5,000 commercials and TV shows since then. So thank you, John Hughes, for chicka chicka, oh, boom, boom. Oh, Ferris Bueller. A modern classic, I suppose, but it dwells in that rarefied John Hughesian universe where, like I said, everyone is white and rich and complaining about all their problems. And all of the adults are assholes, all the parents are idiots or they're evil sons of bitches, and I find all of that just a little bit tiresome. Okay, that's all I got. All right, folks, thanks for listening to my rant about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I hope it was helpful to you. It's on the Netflix yourself. If you don't remember this film, go back and watch it. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's nicely done. I mean, the nice thing about it is it's on Netflix now, so it's in HD and widescreen, which it wasn't back when you watched it on video in the 80s and the 90s, so that's kind of a plus. Anyway, I don't know. Please subscribe to Professor Hans Von Puppet by clicking subscribe wherever it is. Forward, like, share, etc., etc., etc. I'm your pal, Professor Hans Von Puppet. Have a great day. Mwah.
Professor Hans Von Puppet, thanks you for watching the show.
P.S. Attention source-fed editors. If you use me in your source-fed movie club show, be sure to attribute me as Professor Puppet. Do not make up a fake name for me. Use my YouTube screen name. I am trying to get some views here. Please help a brother out. No alias, Professor Puppet. Thank you very much.